Yeah. No, I think it's a very tricky thing, right? To judge somebody and how hard they work. It's not something that I take a lot of joy in. But I'll give you just a bunch of different examples. I mentioned Dwayne, right? Um, there have been guys that I've covered that had 1/10 of the talent of some of these guys, but they lasted longer because they did all the little check the box things right. They studied they studied film they hard, and they were like Logan Paulson is a perfect example. Okay,
Okay.
here was an
Yep.
undrafted dude out of UCLA. Mike Shanahan, seventh, again undrafted, so he didn't even go like in the seventh round. And he just walks in the door and he just worked harder than almost everybody that I know. And he turned an undrafted tight end into a 10-year NFL career. Sure, he bounced around, and no, he wasn't the best pass catcher or athlete or whatever, but he was good enough at a bunch of different things: special teams, blocking, catching, being a teammate, helping out other teammates, culture, all of that stuff. I'll give you another example. When I first got on the beat, Lorenzo Alexander and Kedrick Golston were two guys that that I had and still do tremendous respect for and admiration. Those two guys, one was a sixth round pick and one was undrafted, turned themselves into, in Zoe's case, a Pro Bowl linebacker,
I was, yep.
in a couple of, right? And a Pro Bowl MVP and had a long career, 11, 12 years or whatever it was, and almost won a Super Bowl. And then Kedrick Golston wasn't as fortunate in terms of playoff success, but he turned a sixth round pick into an 11-year career. And now he's doing a coaching fellowship at Virginia Tech. Two dudes that, maxed out every ounce of their talent by working so hard and doing all the little things right. And I mentioned Logan Paulson. I mean, there's other guys like a guy like Darrell Young, and I know I'm kind of dating back a little bit, but I'm trying to use examples
Yeah,
that
it's
fans
important.
might. DY came in here as a linebacker. DY came in as a linebacker and converted himself, along with the Shanahans, into a fullback. And damned if he wasn't pretty damn productive when he was healthy and when he
Yep.
was right and when he was in that system. Now, Jay Gruden didn't really want him, so it kind of ended after that. But in the Shanahan system, he was not as good as Kyle Juszczyk is in San Francisco, but he was a pretty good example of a kid who again, was an undrafted kid out of Villanova who turned himself into something. And now he works for the NFL, and he has been working for the NFL. So, we just look at different examples across the last, 10 or 11 years or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and not even guys that are necessarily on this team, because it's kind of hard right now to gauge exactly who's doing what because we're not at the facility. COVID has obviously robbed us of some of the inside access. So I try and lean back on, guys that I've covered and guys that I've witnessed. And just to kind of bring this full circle, like a
Uh-huh.
guy like Robert, Robert Griffin III, he worked his ass off in the weight room. But where coaches had a problem and teammates had a problem was what he wasn't doing in the film room and in the meetings. And that was a problem for a lot of people. Whether that's fair, unfair, or not, I mean, I can only tell you what a lot of people told me. So, you have to kind of like at least accept it, right? And think that that's, now maybe he was different in Baltimore, and I'm sure he was, and he helped out Lamar and so on and so forth. But that was the knock against him. So some guys have the knock, some guys don't. Some guys maybe get more of a leash and more credit than maybe their athletic talents deserve. I don't know. All I know is if you have the athletic talent and if you have the work ethic, you're going to be maybe not a Hall of Famer, but you're going to be a several-time, Pro Bowler, All Pro, whatever it might be, and you're going to put yourself in a position to be one of the best at your position in your era if you can combine the talent and the work ethic.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I was just gonna mention right quick. I think that's really important, and I wanted to try and get your opinion on that because Ron said in his pressure, or to this extent, not verbatim, but he said in his pressure in his intro, like, look, you guys do what I'm asking y'all to do. This will work. either whether if I make the mistake, that's going to be on me. It's always going to be 100% on me. But you guys do the work. You guys work hard. Do what I say, and this thing will work itself out. And I think that's important when you're talking about the hard work on the player side and making sure that these guys are doing what they have to do in both the film and weight room, and making sure that they're always on top of their game, because Ron is going to make sure from a culture and from a leadership standpoint that these guys are where they need to be, and within whatever direction that Ron wants to take them, that they are ready and they are willing to do whatever it takes.